Education World, and Bhavin is a very well-known name in the community. Worked for United Nations.
I was an opportunist. I was being told in Hindi there was a kahavat saying chappal ragadne wala kaam hai koi karega. And that's where I stood my hand saying let me try because I have no other choice. The way we would have absorbed and got the education, it needs more real education rather than the book education or the so-called syllabus that we just have to mugging up. People may not know it, but by the way, we also have floated a political party.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We have given solutions to government. For me, learning is beyond books. Then only it's learning.
That is music to our ears at Masters Union. Hi, a very warm welcome everyone. We have another edition of Intersect by Masters Union podcast series. Today we have a very well-known face in the higher education and K-12 education sector in India, Mr. Bhavin Shah, the director and CEO of EducationWorld magazine. It is going to be a very fun and insightful conversation. So stick around.
Thank you.
Welcome, Bhavin, to this podcast. I'm really excited to have you here with us, and I was looking forward to having you at this chair for quite some time now. Having worked in higher education for 15 years in admissions and outreach, I know for a fact that Education World and Bhavin is a very well-known name in the community and the fraternity. And this is an opportunity for us to know you better and your journey. You have been doing some fantastic work. I mean, I resonate with so many of your thoughts, so many of your ideas that, over the last couple of years, I think we both have formed a bond where we have come to respect each other mutually and work with each other closely. I remember we have worked together for Intersect. We hosted the school leaders roundtable supported by you and Education World. And it was just over a WhatsApp that we communicated, and we had that trust to build that event, which brought together so many K-12 high school leaders together, and it was a very well received event. You have been a panelist at more than a couple of occasions at Intersect. You have been a dear friend of Masters Union. You have visited us, I think, more than a couple of occasions. So we are so excited today to have you back here with us and having a larger conversation around you and your motivations and passions in life. So looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you, Ankur. Anything that happens remarkable, you'll find Education World, Bhavin Shah and Ankur always together.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Bhavin, 2 decades of experience. We know you as the CEO and director of Education World magazine. But today I want to go back in time and just start with your first few years and then your academic journey. Where were you studying? Which city? What were your family background like? And what were your early career year like?
So I born and brought up in Mumbai. I'm a proud Mumbaiker. But the city of dreams never made us be in some kind of a corner. But being a Gujarati, obviously, everyone would expect saying do a business family and someone who's going to do business. But unlike like my dad is an academician, did his masters in science, chemistry, genius. I became a principal of a college called Sasmira College in Mumbai, very well respected one. And obviously, the hardship that he would have seen while he was in Mumbai and he came to build the dream in Mumbai, unlike his opinion one was not really great because an academician obviously cannot make money.
Money.
Yeah,
Yes.
and obviously, me and my brother, while he was raising up, just getting to meet the ends would be a pleasure for us. That's it. But having said that, the life has come full circle for us. Um, I've been so as a management grad in Mumbai with from Mumbai University, finished my schooling, college, and across everywhere. But anything and everything that has to be done was to ultimately to see to that I get a decent job. But unlike a business family, which would look at continuing the legacy, we never had any kind of an umbrella sort of like that.
Yeah.
And my field obviously was nothing to do with science. It was then pushed towards commerce because probably the hint, unlike the current scenario where career counseling, guidance, and everything was there, I think so. Our life 3 decades back were only decided by what percentage you get.
Yeah.
If you get good percentage, then or probably then the definitions of 90s were like 80s or 70s, and if that percentage 75% you get it, then you are supposed to go in science. Anything below which was there, probably commerce. So I was supposed to get into science because my dad had done science, but having looked at his journey, he only restricted saying better to go to commerce, correct? And that's how these cubes of future were been laid out. So now, me, my wife, my only son, as a family, we are all in Mumbai doing the things what we wanted to do, what we like. I think so. Mumbai gave us a chance to do that. So while my journey was completely different from the profession that I was in and how I moved in over here, that is from from the world of commerce and fast moving consumer goods to education, it's a story by itself. But having said that, we all three are in diverse professions, like my wife being an artist, but handling the back end in my office. At the same time, my son, who's a national player in cricket,
Wonderful. Wow.
played under 16, under 19, now playing for under 23 in Mumbai. So he's like a sports
Wow,
guy.
that's amazing.
And me in education.
Wonderful. Wow. God bless you. What a lovely family. I know for a fact, and that's one of the most fascinating things about you, about your early career, that you worked in United Nations for United Nations and FMCG. You mentioned, and I remember last time you were at Intersect, we were having a chat over breakfast where you were telling me about your role as a consultant with UN and the fascinating role that you had. I'd love for our viewers also to know that aspect of your life.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and probably this fact has. So I've been also doing quite a good guest lectures in the colleges because the profession and this kind of a stream is unheard about,
Yeah.
and it would be very interesting for everyone to know how global economy works. But I was an opportunist because unlike if you don't get any chance, wherever you would get it, you just want to go there,
Yeah.
correct? So this journey struck in such a way that we got a placement through the not a placement cell as in from a college, but there was something which was as an opportunity to do a test marketing project, which was primarily for a company which is Fortune 500 company, Gillette, and Gillette Mark III had to be launched, correct? But something everyone was criticizing, saying India was a 1 rupee topaz blade market because typically everyone used to
Yeah,
use
I
that.
remember
And
that.
against that, we were launching an 500 rupee Mark III.
Yeah.
To be honest, what is Mark? What is Mark III? How this name came in? Everything was surprise. So no one took that project. I was being told in Hindi there was a kahavat saying "chappal ragadne wala kaam hai, koi karega," and that's where I stood my hand saying let me try because I have no other choice. Right? So that's where a business advisor group, which is a UN procurement company, they had offices in Dubai, Durban, London. UN never does work of procurement on their own; they give it to agencies. We are backed by a UAE based fund, and the deal was saying every barrel of oil which gets exported, $1 was been given to relief supplies.
Okay.
And in relief supplies, whenever any man-made devastation or natural devastation happens, this procurement agency used to get work. Okay. So my job was saying primarily my job was they called it as project consultants because these are projects which comes time to time when any devastation comes. It's not a as such it's not a 365-day job, but I was employed at Business Advisor Group, and whenever the projects used to come in for UN, I used to be deployed there. Otherwise, all this FMCG launch, this company used to get it because there was a commonality between the UN work and any brand of US that wants to come in this particular agency or this group, which is Business
Business
Advisor
Advisors
Group,
Group.
used to get work and then people used to be deployed as per the projects. So interestingly, the main job, and which is very good for your viewers to know, and this is very deep rooted, Ankur, to the academic excellence that we talk about. Whenever academic excellence is talked about, you talked about saying a particular subject, what kind of mastery you had it, correct? And then you have your bachelor's, master's, MBAs, and
Yeah.
the PhDs.
Yeah.
No sooner the first work came in at Business Advisor Group saying there is a Gulf War that is happening, and to the military, in one serving, one has to procure some kind of food item which would have X calories, and military need to be feeded in one serving because it's war. You can't go keep on doing to and
Yeah.
fro. And this was a challenge which was been thrown.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
And I mean, unlike anyone who comes from as a fresh grad or a MBA will go back to the book saying, where is the answer of such kind of a problem, correct?
Yeah.
Can I get something from the books? And nothing was available. I asked my professors in the college also. They told, sorry, this global work and there is a war going on, and you are asking some kind of a question for 1 minute. Take something and give it to them. What it matters, right? कोई भी food आप लेके आइए and
लेके
then
आए,
give it.
दे दीजिए.
But you had to go through proper science. I can't have anything which at 50, 55 degree, there was so much of thinking, there was so much of problem solving that I need to
So this is
go
during the
through.
Gulf War.
During the Gulf War, right?
So
So
this was a challenge to you to
this was a
solve this.
challenge which was given in which the organization got in, and then it was floated as an idea to
Idea.
all of the staff,
How can we
saying
solve this?
something like this has come in. Who's ready to
Very.
who's ready to now plunge in and give that idea? Correct. So obviously, no one wanted to have that tint of saying, "Oh, I failed."
Failed, yeah.
So again, वो चप्पल रगड़ने वाली बात. So I ultimately the ball landed up in my court, saying, I was a fresh guy, so obviously I had an exit. Ki saying Bhavin didn't do it. Bye bye. It was a very easy
You have
thing.
nothing to
Correct.
lose.
So this is where while थोड़ा गुजराती बनिया दिमाग had to be used, saying no, survival has to happen. So nothing happened, but all the principles probably which I'm so fascinated, and when you told me saying why this bond between you and Masters Union, because I see that problem solving when real challenges student solving
बिल्कुल.
and all these principles which are been used to think through critical thinking and problem solving economical impacts that had to brought in. But unlike the degrees that we have got and the books that we have read, there was no solution on it. So anyway, the local hack and other stuff had to be implemented, and eventually my success started to get a stabilized job over there was for a very simple thing, and I am a vegetarian, so I can only think about vegetarian, correct? So I walked in into a supermarket in Dubai called Choitram's.
I know that. Yeah.
I picked up, to be honest, I was hungry and I was looking out something for myself, correct? So I picked up a bread loaf and a Haldiram ka bhuji, okay? And probably I thought that while I was having it, there was a content with calories and everything which sufficed me. And actually, I never thought about the deep science that how these calories could be really made, logistics and everything. I never put all the management principles because, frankly speaking, I thought I mean, I've lost it. I'm not going to get because people who have like decades of experience couldn't give any solution.
Solution to
Why
this.
would I go be a smart and do something like that? But ultimately, when the chance came to me saying, "What have you to suggest?" I just told, "Sir, probably a bread loaf and a Haldiram bhuji would be a good solution because by way of temperature is concerned, by way of longevity of the product is concerned, everything could be maintained." And I submitted and I left the office. And next day I'm getting a call saying, "Hey, look, this clicked. This is a great suggestion. How did you do it and everything?" So again, I have to use some smartness and say, no, I studied it very well. I did proper research and everything because now it clicked. So now I have to save. I can't just saying, "Hey, look, it probably some kind of an accidental." But this is how I started getting into the global procurement business. So Ankur, it's
The
very
Haldiram,
interesting.
bhujia and bread.
Bread loaf.
Wow.
You can have longevity by way of days.
Really interesting,
If there
yeah.
is some serving which cannot go more than one time, if this has been given to the forces, they can have the required
Wonderful.
calories,
God
correct?
bless you.
So this gave me, I had to revisit the entire education that I got. And now these challenges became extremely exciting for me. I started completely unlearning and started to figure out saying such kind of global challenges are real, because what happens, which we also are facing it now, that's real. If there is a challenge, which is South Africa for that matter, or for that matter, anything that happens in Russia, it has impact across. How do you solve it,
Solve it.
right? So, no books are going to teach you this, but a business of global procurement. There was no book of global procurement. There was no subject of global procurement. There was no assessment on it. Neither there was any talk by any expert by which some kind of an experiential learning you would have got.
Got.
So this was unheard about, correct? And that's where it triggered me saying it's very important that such kind of fields, such kind of careers could be built up. And then I started going deeper into it. And one of the interesting fact, let me also tell you an interesting project. I have several of them, and these are case
I know.
studies by itself, which to this generation also probably people wouldn't have heard of. Ankur, I never knew, and another challenge came in saying there are this islands near South Africa. Okay, and during Second World War, lot of the ships regis were there uh, between the South Africa continent and this island. In between, there were, you may call it these are the ships which were sunk. Okay, and now the task was saying you need to remove this ship because that island, the Arabs wanted to buy the island and they wanted to build what you see over here now, the Burj Khalifa and other
Yeah.
thing. They actually wanted to build a casino island for
Okay.
tourism. Okay,
Right across South Africa.
South Africa, between South Africa and these islands,
Okay.
and and this was a work in a raw language. It was a kachra work. You have to remove the kachra.
Okay.
Okay, so this was like the plain brief. So again, everyone thought this is so easy, right? Saying so we have a lot of this companies who will have this register to be removed, and it would be easy. Why would one go on for deep thinking, saying this can happen or not? But by the way, Norwegians, by the way, are known to be the best for ship breaking and
Okay.
ship registers to be removed from the sea or wherever they
Wherever
are.
they're stuck.
And these are like tons and trunky jobs, So we are not talking of some 100 to 1,000 tons. These are in like million ton of shipwrecks which are there. You need to remove it so that their commuting and all kind of development in that island happens. Correct.
Wow.
Okay, so now again the brief came in saying this is a good work. So that time I never got a chance because some of the smartians told this we will do it. Getting to know into it now, see that's a work. Call up all the so-called big hunkos which are there in this business. The back end report I get in saying no one is trying to bid for this, and the so-called smarties were sweating, saying, "Boss, we are not meeting the deadlines." Correct. One of the key aspects which they didn't figure out, and while I started getting to know that anything which comes simple is not simple, so you need to really research it well. It's I first time got to know we see sea or ocean as ocean across,
Yeah.
correct? So maybe an Arabian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, across ocean is ocean, boss. What more one has to study about it? But very peculiar thing is South African oceans currents are very heavy. You cannot really
I think it's the
do.
Atlantic.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so probably any work to be carried out in that high currents
Uh,
is not possible.
Not possible.
Correct. So correct. So in that particular scenario, how to really move out that ship wreckage was very. And to be honest, I mean, I don't want to give you a long solution to it, but again, India helped in where the workers at in Bhavnagar,
Hmm.
okay, and there is a place called Alang
Yeah,
where
the ship
all ship
breaking.
breaking happens.
Yeah.
Some of the locals gave how this work has to be done. It's technical in nature, but how, on what period, what time, currents have got the science. Norwegians couldn't do it,
Okay.
but the locals, that is, people who have been doing age-old work in Alang, none of the engineers worked in, but these are like people who have 40, 50 years or generations who have been doing work. They gave the solution, and we got the bit to clear that up. Correct. So
Wonderful.
this kind of learnings were fabulous in the global procurement businesses, where largely I was supposed means I was the portfolio was chai chini chawal because any kind of any kind of procurement for relief supplies that need to happen where food need to be procured or so I used to be dealing with Asda, Sainsbury, Pick and Pay, Jumbo, Cash and Carry because they have ready stocks with them. At that time, pantaloons, big bazaars, or D-marts, and such kind of hypermarket concepts were not in
Not there.
India. Not in India. So largely, we were all wholesale trades. So it was a fascinating learning. To be honest, my real education started on job,
Job.
or my real MBA happened on the job,
Best one.
rather than anything which certificate would have given me any kind of experience. So this actually made me start thinking, saying how a global economy would be impacted by nature or man-made devastation or any kind of manifestation which would have been thought to be deployed in an economy. And that's where I started building up all kind of concept based FMCG products launching in India, which includes Gillette Mark III, Duracell. No one knew what's the difference between a zinc chloride and an alkaline battery, correct?
Yeah.
I launched the Laughing Cow cheese because we as a nation, we never, for us, everything which is spread, that is butter or cheese.
Yeah.
As a nation,
Yeah.
we only know
Absolutely.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
correct?
That's
No one knew that time the nutritional value by way of protein and other so-called nutrients. Cheese is also or could be an over-the-counter nutrient food supplement.
mm,
We always knew that cheese could
absolutely.
be
Yeah. The
only
spread.
spread,
Yeah.
correct? So such kind of exciting work when it
Wonderful.
started hitting in, I'll tell you, this is the learning which I see in education. It used to happen, and my interesting turning to education world, which is again a very good story. While all this was happening, there was this company which was selling toys. This is toys was called in India, whereas Germans used to tell us saying these are teaching and learning aids. But for me, I'm a FMCG guy, used to deal with retail. I told, okay, boss, what it matters, खिलौने तो खिलौने हैं,
Mm,
correct? So I told, okay, no problem. Let's get on to that project. They're fabulous toys. Looked very, because toys, when you see it, it's the only appearance that is going to matter. For us, that's the definition of a toy, correct? If a simple glass like this is kept, I don't know, it's not exciting. What's so great about this, right? But you'll never think about engineering, ergonomics, the usage, the sustainability aspect. No one thinks about that, correct? So when Germans started telling me, saying, hey, look, this need to be getting in India, I told, okay, fine. I'm a retail guy. I'll go and start selling in crosswords. Had just come in. Biyanis had just started in. And the flagship store was in Mumbai, near Haji Ali, where the big tower of Pantaloons was there. And I thought this is a premium product, South Mumbai, which is considered to be an
yeah. Yeah.
upmarket one. It would be easy to sell. So Germans told me, hold on, you're not going to go to retail. So I told, sorry, if it is not retail, what am I going to do in? You need to go to education institute. So I told, why should I go to education institute? Because the sales would happen of the so-called term that I understand was toys would have happened in the stores, correct? So they told, no, you have to understand very deeply, and I'm going to now again teach you. So Ankur, in my life, I think so education has never left me. Everywhere people were educating me, scenarios were educating me, or for that matter, projects were educating me. And I used to be indirectly, I never realized that, but I used to love it. And this process, which now I realize actually is real education.
Real education.
So while this was
So this was, sorry, this was the time you joined Education World?
no. Now this
Okay.
is happening. Now
Oh
this is
yeah. So
happening when
let's come to the education world now. Let's connect the
so while
dots.
this business advisor group procurement was happening, product launches were happening, the last or the so-called the project that came in, which became to be my last project, because then education world happened, and the story goes like this. This was the toys company which were in Germany. It was in Lam, and these are like the wooden toys and the plastic toys. Correct?
Yeah.
These are two different categories. And when I decided to go in retail, Germans told me saying you cannot and you have to go to education institute. I just took it as a challenge saying let me go and start with kindergarten, because the simple thing was that toys would be used in kindergarten. So first of all, I had to every time correct myself saying I never have to tell toys. These are teaching learning aids, teaching learning aids. Okay. So when I walked in into the first kindergarten, and I used to be a ready stock guy because I was being trained to, because no business is a better business if you take stock in hand, sell it, get the money for yourself, and do your daily sales report saying, wow, you got a real sale done. Correct? So again, I used to carry all the, with one of the colleagues, I used to carry all the toys and teaching learning aids, and I used to go to the school. School started saying, hey, look, it looks good. They're very costly. Probably, like, maybe for our school, it is not proper. Correct? Then again, Germans told me saying, hey, look, you need to now start understanding the curriculum and the pedagogical aspect and go and explain.
Okay.
So it was now turning out to be probably I'm becoming a teacher.
Teacher.
And why would one go through this, right? And that's where the relevance of a red color, blue color to a 2 years old, 5 years old, and 10 years old. I had to keep on reading various of the literatures that the Germans used to give me, and why a particular toy cannot be given to a kid who's crying or who's secluded. Largely, our pattern is saying बच्चा रो रहा है, you can take them into a corner, give them a teddy bear and say अभी चुप हो जाओ, ठीक है? This was
बिल्कुल,
largely,
बिल्कुल।
and you get, so they used to hate this, saying teddy bears are the worst. It has got lot of illness factor by way of dust and moisture which gets
Stuck in
absorbed by
absorbed.
this kind of fur, and how to have activity based toys and so on and so forth. And that's where Ankur, I got fascinated, saying, now this is interesting, and how can I spread the knowledge? So this is where what happened was I was looking out for a medium where I can spread this knowledge to educators, so that selfishly my sale can increase. Because if I go on preaching, teaching this school by school, probably in even 100 years we wouldn't have seen each other,
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
And that's where I was looking out a medium, and I figured out, while I was sitting at Crossroads, I saw Education World magazine, and I saw saying, boss, this is the first magazine I've seen. I've not seen anything else. And Education World, something related to education, something related to teaching, learning aids, it fits in. So immediately I thought, let me call up this publication and see, saying if something could be done together. So this is where, when I reached out to Education World, Dilip Thakur, that time, while I wanted to advertise the toys, he told me, saying, hey, look, while you're doing this, and anyways you're going to go to education institutes, why don't you also take my magazine, correct? And let's start marketing the magazine. So I took permission from my office, saying, hey, look, now this is a good medium, I'm reading it, I'm liking it. And if suppose our education of these teaching learning aids can be effective, and it could be win-win from for both, can I do that? So I started as a consultant with Education World,
Education world.
and I started building up the platform. And while this was getting in education institutes, right from kindergarten, schools, till higher secondaries also, it became a beautiful journey where I started discovering the real education. And I felt, saying, there's a huge, tremendous gap from the time we would have been in school and the way things have been taught to us. Probably there is much more to do. And I found Dilip's mission to build the pressure of public opinion to make education as the number one item on national agenda drew me to join him. And we all, three of us, that is Sumia Yasmin, Dilip Thakur, and me, we came together as a mission to make it happen, because by that time I was fully convinced that the way we would have absorbed and got the education, it needs more real education rather than the book education, or the so-called syllabus that we just have to do learning, or just mugging up, getting on to the examination, get a degree, and you're educated. So we all align to that mission to first revamp the thinking of teachers and educators through Education World medium. And that's the reason you will find Education World, irrespective, we are still not happy the way education landscape has really changed, and not many industry are really coming forward and helping us. We've been 25 years, but you see me across everywhere, traveling, doing
Absolutely.
everything that is possible to survive this medium. But it's a difficult task, and whatever we are doing, first we want to do because we believe in that this is the right thing for the nation to be done. One day, 100%, it would happen, saying people will take it as a priority, and probably each and everything that we are contributing now to build up that education is really going to change the landscape of India, at the same time for the world.
Absolutely. And with education world, I think there are a couple of things that I want to mention. You mentioned Dilip Thakur, Sumaya Yasmin, and you. And three of you have been doing some amazing work. I recently met also Sumaya and Dilip at OP Jindal Global University, where they were being hosted a couple of weeks by the Vice Chancellor,
Yes.
Honorable Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar. And he is also a great fan of the work that all of you are
Yes.
doing and Education World magazine. And second thing, I mean, personally, when I've seen all the progressive schools in this country, I mean, if I go there and I see an Education World, at the reception, a trophy or
Rankings.
the rankings or the magazine, and I think that has also become a kind of a signal to me that this school really is a visionary school. I think that as a marker for us working in admissions and
Sets a
outreach,
benchmark.
it's a benchmark for what you have done. And yes, as you said, the journey is still ongoing. But I think what you are doing is very, very important. And you have curated such a nice conversation around it. At least the progressive schools, there is a conversation happening. And I know how you have got all this reach. I mean, you are the FMCG man. You are ensuring that it is across the country. I mean, wherever I am, I get to see if it's a good school, it will have something to do with education world. So, Bhavin, thank you for what you and the team has been doing at Education World. Great fan there. And I know for a fact you are also, running World Academy for Career Programs, and an advisor to Boarding School Association of India and multiple other forums. And you're, given your extensive experience. So, tell us a bit about all these other things that you do apart from Education World.
So, as I told you, and to the starting of it, as I told you, if Masters Union or you are doing some remarkable work, you will find us, or if I am doing it, we'll find you, correct? So that's how we
Yeah.
do the match. So with this, so we never settled. I never settled in anything which was common, because now the trigger from that so-called toys to teaching learning gave me that kind of energy and that kind of a vision, saying anything which has got gaps or which has got any to improve, we should be there, irrespective the business aspect comes in or not, or irrespective whether this could really change things. First clear understanding was that we have to attempt, so I think so, the firm believer of a karma theory, saying if no one is doing it, even if it is not your domain, but just take a step, do it, and probably people are going to back you. And with that understanding, a lot of initiatives, education world took it up, either in partnership, either supported or done it ourselves. To our, let me tell your viewers, people may not know it, but by the way, we all, Dilip, Samia, and we also have floated a political party
Oh, I didn't know that.
called as the Children's First Party of India. But by the way, now it is shut. No one. So, Ankur, it was. I think so. It was way ahead of time. This was almost
What
the
was it called?
Children's First Party of India.
Children's First Party
Party
of
of India.
India.
CFPI. We did a press conference in Delhi.
Okay.
To be honest, I cannot quote everything on this interview because this is going to go national.
Yeah.
But there were press reporters and across. So they were like giving a comment saying, "Are you kids? How can a child vote for a party?" And we were telling boss, "You should read the manifesto that we've written. We are fighting for the rights of the child." So each and every family, if they are concerned for their child and their child's future, then CFPI, that is Children's First Party of India, you should be voting in.
Wow.
And it was a clear, see, for us, we thought this, anyone can understand this. 40 million middle class household, everyone wanted better future for their kid. Why won't people vote for a party which is working for the children,
Yeah.
correct? With that enthusiasm, we launched it. We did. I
Wow.
think so. Dilip plunged his personal money, which he always does first, and he want to see to that first bona fide should come from us, and he did it. We did press conferences. We floated. Obviously, no one voted for us. Neither a single vote came in.
It's so
But
sad.
this is what we, and this was much ahead of time.
Time,
And
yeah.
this is where what you mentioned, saying what all other initiatives we have done. So the crazy initiatives, and they are very effective initiatives.
Wow.
Out of which the little bit cursor started moving on again back to academics, because while we wanted to do a lot of adventures, including the LibLab project, that is library, laboratory, and lavatory, we have given solutions to government, right? Saying, hey, look, they always say we don't have money.
Yeah.
We carved out the full P&L and balance sheet from where you can save money and where you can invest. So if at all in government schools, you get better lab and lab, you need not stress on manpower. Our kids in India, we are hardworking. We need just platform. Kids, if you give the platform of lab and lab, wherever you don't have infra or for that matter manpower, kids automatically will take it forward. Again, we tried some effect we got in, but not majority that we can move in. With that, on academic side, while I saw the journey with my son and various other kids and myself, uh, this gap of career development was kicking in at a very late stage. Okay, largely it used to always happen when you're at the final year of your
Yeah,
college, right? Or your graduation year,
yeah,
and that's
absolutely. The
where you're going to
placement week.
decide, saying, okay, now I'm going to be graduate. Now I'm going to start looking at which job and what placement and so on and so forth. And this was not resting in my mind, and I thought, while kids are doing fabulous work at school, you do, apart from whatever academics are there, you participate in sport, you participate in various projects, and where you know that I like this subject, but going forward I don't get this subject, because then you are demarked by way of percentages, you are demarked by way of streams, saying science student, sorry, you can't learn accounts. If you're an account student, sorry, you can't learn chemistry. So this was not really resting in my mind. And this is where I was searching, and my team, which we collaborated, we were searching what could be the solution. And that's where we developed World Academy of Career Program, which develops program for grade 11 and 12, which are focused towards career. Having said that, holistic subjects are also there. But if I love artificial intelligence, for that matter, if I love sports or sports management, I should be given that chance as early as possible so that I can walk on that path, correct? And this is where, after searching various other boards, we found the perfect fit to be International Baccalaureate, because they had careers program. And the best part of IB was that they gave liberty to the career program developer in that country to develop it to the need of that country. So World Academy of Career Program struck ties with IB, and we are now conducting this 11th and 12th grade IBCP program
IBCP
in India.
program.
Yeah, so that happened with World Academy of Career Program. Again, Boarding School Association of India, while the legacy schools, which we call them, everyone looks up to them, they're visionaries, and people want to know more about it. This is where I think so all the stalwarts came together, and they wanted a platform which Education World gave. I, being the strategic advisor, I try to see to that whatever happens in the so-called the great legacy schools, how this could be communicated, collaborated, and effectively implemented with other schools, which could be a day school also, because a problem of a school or a problem of a teacher of a student, unless shared with other institution, you really can't get any solution. And this is where all of us came on that mission, saying, though boarding school will be like the North Star to guide education institutes, but all of the educators came together to spread the education, their experiences to each and every corner of India. And that's where the membership model is there. At the same time, workshop models are there, where someone who would have heard the name of Doon School or a Mayo School, but probably wouldn't have the bandwidth to go or get that connect. This is where Education World and I started bridging that gap. And now you will see a wonderful entire a conglomeration that we had, with kind of retreats that you have also attended.
Yeah,
You would
amazing.
see this is the amalgamation of best of brains from all corners of the world, and the best of brains in academics on all formats of education meet together. So that's Boarding
That's
School
wonderful.
Association. We have Access USA. Again, a lot of aspiration that a student would have, that they want to go for study abroad or improve their skills. The Michigan College Alliance, which was formed 70 years back in US. Our dear friends over there, they started lending the support, saying, while IBCP is happening, or while any student who wants to really get to know the best of the excellence in that particular field, it could be again AI or sports or anything, if they have aspiration to come to US or anywhere in the world, the first year of university work, we give it to students sitting in India. So these are
That's
extremely
really
innovative.
and
These
visionary.
are these are the initiatives that we felt, which every kid, and my focus, which is not a cliche term of child centric, which largely I read it in mission vision statements of various schools or institution, we make it happen. When it is child centric, then it has to be child centric. And for each child, if their aspirations and if their inclination is towards any kind of learning, and let me tell you, for me, learning is beyond books, then only it's learning. And if that happens, which can solve economical problem, which can solve their personal, communal, or society problem, that should be in the books, or if not in books, they have to be taken out of the book and they have to be on that job. And that's where you can give them the so-called marks or percentages, which industry can look at it, rather than just looking at one transcript and deciding the future.
That is music to our ears at Masters Union, and I can now have more understanding of why you love what we are trying to do at Masters Union, and you have been a great friend and a supporter for us as an institution. And I want to just acknowledge also that we have already accepted IBCP, and we have found the great kids in from who have come from IBCP background. I mean, the retreats at the Boarding School Association of India. I mean, I was just thinking last year, May 9 to 11th, we were at Sanar,
Sana.
Lawrence School Sanar, and Pine Grove. What a fascinating retreat it was. And then recently at Varanasi,
Varanasi.
Sunbeam